Shall we? This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, text. Well, actually, we're doing text 24.
24, correct.
Okay. Tatas. Viv. Ati Raja. Shurashtam. Ridam. Savira. Matsyan. Kurujangalams. Cha. Kalena. Tavad. Yamunam. Upecha. Tatro. Udavam. Bhagavatam. Dadarsha. Tata Ati Braja Surastram Ridam. Savira Matsyan Kuru Jangalamscha. Kalena Tava Yamunam Upecha. Tatro Davam Bhagavatam Dadarsha. Tata Ati Braja Surastram Ridam. Savira Matsyan Kuru Jangalamscha. Kalena Tava Yamunam Upecha. Tatro Davam Bhagavatam Dadarsha. Tata Ati Braja Surastram Ridam. Savira Matsyan Kuru Jangalamscha. Kalena Tava Yamunam Upecha. Tatro Davam Bhagavatam Dadarsha.
Tastvati Rajasurashtamidham. Savira Matsyan Kuru Jangalamscha. Kalena Tava Yamunam Upecha. Tatro Davam Bhagavatam Dadarsha.
Tata Swati Rajasurastram Ridam. Savira Matsyan Kuru Jangalamscha. Kalena Tava Yamunam Upecha. Tatro Davam Bhagavatam Dadarsha. Tatastu Ati Viraja Surasastram Ridam. Salvira Matsyan Kuru Jangalamscha. Kalena Tava Yamuna Upedya. Tatro davam bhagavatam dadarsha.
Tatro davam bhagavatam dadarsha. Tatasti Vivrajasurastram Ridam. Savira Matsyan Kuru Jangalam Cha. Kalena Tava Yamuna Mupetya. Tatro Davam Bhagavatam Dadarsha. Tatam Chivairajasurastram Ridam. Savira Matsyam Kuru Jangalamscha. Galena Tava Yamuna Mupetya. Tatro Davam Bhagavatam Dadarsha. Anyone else? Anyone online?
Tatastvativrajasurastram ridam.
Tatasti Vagrajasarastram Ridam.
Sauvira matsyan kuru jangalamscha.
Savira Matsyan Kuru Jangalamscha.
Kalena tavad yamuna mupetya.
Kalena Tava Yamuna Mupetya.
Tatro davam bhagavatam dadarsha.
Tatro Davam Bhagavatam Dadarsha. Tata,
Tata.
from there,
From there.
to,
To.
but,
But.
Atiraja,
Atiraja.
by passing over,
By passing over.
Surastram,
Surashram.
the kingdom of Surat,
The kingdom of Surat.
Ridam,
Ridam.
very wealthy,
Very wealthy.
Savira,
Savira.
the kingdom of Savira,
The kingdom of Savira.
Matsyan,
Matsyan.
the kingdom of Matsya,
The kingdom of Matsya.
Kuru Jangalan,
Guru Jangalam.
the kingdom of Western India up to the Delhi province,
The kingdom of Western India up to the Delhi province.
Cha,
Cha.
also,
Also.
Kalena,
Kalena.
in course of time,
In course of time.
Tavat,
Tava.
as soon
As
as
soon as.
Yamunam,
Yamunam.
bank of the river Yamuna,
Bank of the river Yamuna.
Upecha,
Upesha.
reaching,
Reaching.
Tatra,
Tatra.
there,
There.
Udavam,
Udava.
Udava,
Udava.
one of the prominent yadus.
One of the prominent yadus.
Bhagavatam,
Bhagavatam.
the great devotee of Lord Krishna,
The great devotee of Lord Krishna.
the Darsha,
Tadarsha.
happened to see.
Happened to see.
Translation. Thereafter, he passed through very wealthy provinces like Surat, Savira, and Matsya, and through Western India, known as Kuru Jangala. At last, he reached the bank of the Yamuna, where he happened to meet Uddhava, the great devotee of Lord Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The tract of land comprising about 100 square miles from modern Delhi to the Mathura district in Uttar Pradesh, including a portion of the Gurgaon district in Punjab, East India, is considered to be the topmost place of pilgrimage in all of India. This land is sacred because Lord Krishna traveled through it many times. From the very beginning of his appearance, he was at Mathura in the house of his maternal uncle, Kamsa, and he was reared by his foster father, Maharaj Nanda, at Vrindavan. There are still many devotees of the Lord lingering there in ecstasy in search of Krishna and his childhood associates, the gopis. It is not that such devotees meet Krishna eye to eye in that tract of land, but a devotee's eagerly searching after Krishna is as good as his seeing him personally. How this is so cannot be explained, but it is factually realized by those who are pure devotees of the Lord. Philosophically, one can understand that Lord Krishna and his remembrance are on the absolute plane, and that the very idea of searching for him at Vrindavan in pure God consciousness gives more pleasure to the devotee than seeing him eye to eye. Such devotees of the Lord see him eye to eye at every moment, as is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Pramanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundarama Chincha Guna Svarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Those who are in ecstasy of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shamasundar Krishna, see him always in their hearts due to love and devotional service rendered to the Lord. Both Vidura and Uddhava were such elevated devotees, and therefore they both came to the bank of the Yamuna and met each other. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanjana Shlakaya Chakshon Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya Bhutaya Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Gaurvai. Just to be started. Have a glass of water, please. Thank you very much. So, all right. So this is Vidura. Vidura is on his pilgrimage, and so mentions some pilgrimage places, and Prabhupada in the purport states that this is the topmost. This referenced here, this 100 square miles from modern Delhi to the Mathura district in Uttar Pradesh, is the topmost place of pilgrimage in all of India. And so I'm not going to give a description of these places in India, because I don't know, but I want to speak about some things in this purport. So this tract of land, Krishna, it's the topmost place of pilgrimage because Krishna traveled through there many times in his pastimes, including from his very childhood. So that Krishna was Krishna's birth parents in quotes. Because Krishna understood that he did not take birth, he appeared. So in his appearance in the Kamsa's prison in Mathura to Devaki and Vasudev, that he was he appeared there, and then was promptly taken to Vrindavan to be kept away from Kamsa, Kamsa knew that Krishna would be his angel of death. It would be his demise, because he was warned by Narada Muni. And so from the very first, so that Krishna was traveling from his very first appearance, he was traveling on this tract of land. So it meant many times, that he was traveling this tract of land. And so Prabhupada says that there are still many devotees of the Lord lingering there in ecstasy in search of Krishna and his childhood associates. So that word lingering there, it's a particular word. There's a particular energy with lingering. It's like, what do we do whenever you're lingering? It's kind of like, I can imagine, it's like, I probably have something I could be doing, but I'm just kind of pretending to stay a little longer because maybe I want to talk to somebody. And so I'm just kind of lingering outside, waiting for them to come out, or I'm kind of making myself busy or whatever. There's a connotation there with lingering. It's like, and like you could leave, Like you could, there's some like, you're kind of choosing to stay behind, like somebody's just, why are you lingering? Just leave or whatever. So there's a connotation there of like, it's not really fully necessary, to be there, but you're just lingering, look in ecstasy, in search after Krishna. And so, and Prabhupada says, so that it's not that such devotees meet Krishna eye to eye in that tract of land, but devotees eagerly searching after Krishna is good as his seeing him personally. So this says this cannot be explained, but it's factually realized. So I'm not know that I'm going to try to explain it, but at least Prabhupada says it cannot be explained, so I shouldn't try to explain it. But still, at the same time, I'm giving this class, I want to talk about something. Hopefully it's pleasing to Srila Prabhupada. And at least to talk about what comes to mind about that. So, and then, but then philosophically, we can understand that Krishna and his remembrance are on the absolute plane. So this comes up with the gopis and the gopis in Vrindavan, actually. So in Krishna book, this mentions Uddhava. Vidura is meeting Uddhava. So in Krishna book, there's the chapter where Uddhava is bringing a message to the gopis from Krishna. And in that chapter, is this kind of philosophical point is brought up because the gopis are lamenting because Krishna left Vrindavan. So at another time, wherever he left Vrindavan, traveled on this tract of land to Mathura. And he went to Mathura to accept Kamsa's invitation to a wrestling match. And then he's supposed to, the gopis thought he was going to come back, right? He's going to come back after the wrestling match, but he stayed in Mathura. So the gopis were lamenting that Krishna has left us. We've been separated for so long. They're in separation, lamentation. And in the message that Uddhava gives to the gopis from Krishna, he explains that actually I never left Vrindavan. That it's like you're remembering me, your meditation on me, is the same, actually superior. Lord Chaitanya brings that to completeness. This love in separation, love of Godhead, love of God in separation. So philosophically, by the gopis in Vrindavan, constantly meditating on him, Prabhupada says that their meditation is perfect. Because no matter what they're doing, they're cooking, they're thinking of Krishna, they're serving their husbands, they're thinking of Krishna, cleaning, they're thinking of Krishna, whatever they're doing in all their activities, they're thinking of Krishna, whatever they're engaged in, their meditation is perfect. So that meditation on Krishna, on the Lord, is in separation, is equal to they're the same as seeing Krishna face to face. So so for the pure devotees, just the very idea of searching for him at Vrindavan in pure God consciousness gives more pleasure to the devotee than seeing him eye to eye. Such devotees of the Lord to see him eye to eye at every moment. So that's kind of what I'm understanding, like these the devotees, pure devotees like this, like they have like perfect meditation, always thinking of Krishna. So Krishna is not, there's no separation. But the idea of searching for him in Vrindavan, that gives more pleasure than actually seeing him eye to eye. The idea of searching for him gives more pleasure. So so that's what it's like, lingering. So like lingering there. So like these pure devotees, Krishna's within their heart. Krishna's their meditation is perfect. So there's no separation. Krishna's always there. So there's no need to search after Krishna. but the idea of searching after Krishna gives so much pleasure. So that's what that lingering to me brings to mind, like brings to context. Like they don't need to be there searching for Krishna. They don't need to be searching for Krishna. Like, but they're lingering, hanging out, waiting around because they're in ecstasy of the search. So there's a few things that come to mind in like that that we like we don't want to put our mundane conceptions onto searching for Krishna, or the gopis in Krishna, and still at the same times we can understand something that's close to us. We can give some understanding, some indication of what's happening in the supreme source, so we can look at what happens in our experience, in our lives, and that gives some indication of what could be there in the supreme source, although it's not equally translatable, but it's at least gives some indication. And then we can understand that it's not going to be the same. We don't want to just transfer over our understandings, our mundane understandings, onto the supreme, but still some things come to mind for me about this concept of searching for Krishna. So this is the mood of the 6 Goswamis, actually, in Vrindavan. They were in Vrindavan, and it's mentioned in the chapter where Uddhava is delivering the message to the gopis, that the 6 Goswamis, Prabhupada says, they never fulfilled their goal. They never fulfilled their goal. They never felt like they fulfilled their goal. They never act like that. They're always searching for Krishna in Vrindavan, like it's described here. Lingering in ecstasy, searching for. So that was the mood of the 6 Goswamis, is where is Krishna? Where's Radha? Where's Krishna? Where's Radha? Never that, oh, I found Krishna, or I've achieved the result. I'm always searching, looking. Prabhupada says, like, they never fulfilled their goal. So like what's that about? So like and then, so there's a few things that come to mind in our like common experience that could like at least give some indication of what that mood is. And so naturally I go to sports, right? Of course I go to sports. So there's a in competition in sports and things like that, there's a concept, a concept of like, once you've made it, once you think the moment when you think you've made it, you're finished, basically. So it's like once you think that you've made it and you've achieved your success, everything's good, then you're done, because it's like the constant striving, the constant searching, the constant drive to keep searching after you go, keep going, to keep getting better, whatever it is. That's what, that's the process. That's really the process. So like Krishna consciousness, the process and the goal are the same. So striving to be Krishna conscious, and being Krishna conscious is like, that's the end and the goal. They're the same. They're equal. So searching after Krishna, or actually seeing Krishna face to face, it's the same. It's the same philosophically. That is the process. The process is to be in that mood of always striving, searching, eagerly striving to get better, to develop more consciousness, more quality, more devotional quality, surrender further, never thinking that we've made it. Because once we think we've made it, then it's like the fall, right? And that's true in sports. And I think we can look at like also in some any worthwhile endeavor, especially endeavoring to be Krishna conscious. So and there's also like like there's a phrase like to rest on your laurels, don't rest on your laurels. And that's like that's also like laurels, like the Olympic athletes would get like these laurel wreaths. And so resting on your laurels is kind of like you just sitting on your accomplishments, like kind of like you whatever you've accomplished, kind of resting there, being satisfied there, complacency. So that comes to mind also. It's like, but the six Goswamis, they never felt like they never were in the mood that they achieved their goal. Well, of course, they've achieved their goal. From our perspective, or from because Prabhupada says such devotees of the Lord see him eye to eye at every moment, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. So, also there is that's some notes. Okay, yeah, I have it. So I could just this Krishna book chapter. The gopis are in the perfectional stage of meditation. This is chapter 47. This is Uddhava delivering the message to the gopis. So here we have Uddhava meeting Vidura on the bank of the Yamuna, and this is in Krishna book, Uddhava delivering the message to the gopis from Krishna. The gopis are in the perfectional stage of meditation. Yogis are generally more fond of meditating than of executing devotional service to the Lord, but they do not know that the perfection of the yoga system is the attainment of devotion. This constant meditation on Krishna by the gopis is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita to be the topmost yoga. Krishna knew very well the psychology of women. When a woman's beloved is away, she thinks of him more in meditation than when he is present before her. Krishna wanted to teach through the behavior of the gopis that one who is constantly entranced like the gopis surely attains his lotus feet. Lord Chaitanya taught people in general the method of Vipralamba Seva, which is the method of rendering service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the feeling of separation. The six Goswamis also taught worship of Krishna in the feeling of the gopis in separation. The prayers composed by Srinivasacharya about the Goswamis explain these matters very clearly. Srinivasacharya said that the Goswamis were always absorbed in the ocean of transcendental feeling in the mood of the gopis. When they lived in Vrindavan, they were searching for Krishna, crying, "Where are you, Krishna? Oh, gopis, where are you? Where are you, Srimati Radharani?" They never said, "We have now seen Krishna, Radha and Krishna, and therefore our mission is fulfilled." Their mission always remained unfulfilled. They never met Radha and Krishna. Krishna reminded the gopis that at the time of the rasa dance, those gopis who could not join him for the rasa lila gave up their bodies simply by thinking of him. Absorption in Krishna consciousness by feeling separation is thus the quickest method for attainment of the lotus feet of Krishna. By the personal statement of Krishna, the gopis were convinced about the strength of feelings of separation. They were actually experiencing the supernatural method of Krishna worship and were much relieved by understanding that Krishna was not away from them, but always with them. So, their mission always remained unfulfilled. Their mission always remained unfulfilled. It says they never met Radha and Krishna. In fact, actually, they did meet Radha and Krishna. So that's that. Another thing that comes to mind, like at least in our mundane experience, is like the thrill of the chase. There's like the thrill of a chase, the thrill of the hunt. There's an excitement, that comes with that, and so that's like these pure devotees, that it's that thrill, the ecstasy of lingering in Vrindavan, searching for Krishna. That's more pleasurable than actually seeing face to face. That this is like pure, absolute plane of this experience, that we may have some experience of here. It's like the pure absolute form. So absolute means that like there's no difference. Prabhupada says, philosophically, one can understand that Lord Krishna, his remembrance from the absolute plane, the very idea of searching for him in Vrindavan and pure God consciousness gives more pleasure to the devotee than seeing him eye to eye. So on the relative plane, then there's a distinction between my name and my body and the soul, and there's a distinction between my activities and like these objects, my paraphernalia, the things that I use in my everyday life. There's a distinction between those things, and like my name and myself are different. But on the absolute plane, there's no difference. That the vibration is the same. So the vibration of Krishna's name is the same as Krishna himself. So in fact, like chanting Hare Krishna, then Krishna is there with us. So there's no separation. There's never any separation actually. There's Krishna's within our heart, as Paramatma. So there's never any separation, but still it's like the mood of the gopis, the mood of the six Goswamis. Lord Chaitanya is coming as the golden avatar. Soon he's coming. His anniversary is coming. So he's the golden avatar, and he's showing us how to be in that mood. He's teaching us. In pastimes like Malini was sharing on Monday, like teaching us pastimes that we can engage in fully, not just like pastimes to meditate on or to read about, but actually pastimes that we can engage in. Lord Chaitanya going on the streets and Harinam Sankirtan and Kirtan, distributing prasadam. I don't know about the prasadam food fights, or maybe some of the more like you said, the more advanced pastimes. Maybe that's not for us to engage directly in, but for sure there's like there's a way that he shows us a way to engage in these pastimes and to be in the mood of the gopis, and then in love and separation. That's his mood. And then Srila Prabhupada has come, and he gives us even more practical and direct guidance on how to engage in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and how to develop that love and separation, develop those devotional feelings, at least to develop the qualities that are conducive to develop that love of God. And it starts with sadhana bhakti, and starts even more than sadhana bhakti with the 4 regulative principles. So it's kind of like it's like love of God is like a big number, million, infinity, thousands, millions, whatever. And it's like we're like at negative numbers. That's kind of like our starting point, like Kali Yuga. It's like we're at negative numbers. So like the 4 regulative principles, it gets us like at least closer to like 0, at least, like where we're like, okay, civilized human being, like there's some platform there, so 4 regulative principles gets us at least to some civilized human life, gets us out of the animal life. And then once there's a human being there, then there can be some advancement, some devotional practice. It reminds me of like when you Govinda, when you say like
accept responsibility.
whenever,
Then there's a human being.
then there's a human to do therapy with. And
Yes.
it's like once, if there's no responsibility, if there's no, it's like there's no human being there. So like once we can come to the platform of somewhat civilized human life, get out of animal life, then there's a human being. There's a human being there, and the purpose of human life is for self-realization, for spiritual growth. And so then we can engage in sadhana bhakti, and we start with chanting, just adding Krishna, adding the names of Krishna. So that's the start. Is whatever we're doing, just add Krishna, and that's start where you're at, because where else we can't start anywhere else. We can't start anywhere else than where we're at, but so start where we're at, add Krishna, and then there's so many more things to add, up to our heart's consent and desire that Srila Prabhupada has given. So starts with adding Krishna, ideally up to ideally at least a minimum of 16 rounds of Mahamantra Japa, and then same thing, start where we're at. That we start with maybe just 10 mantras. Maybe just start with 10 mantras per day, or start with a round per day, or we start where we're at, add Krishna, and then that's the what's recommended by Prabhupada to come to these, to start on the path, to start searching, start our search for Krishna. So wanted to also, okay, there's a Canto 1, like chapter 9, the Bhagavatam.
Human.
Yeah, I was gonna. Chapter 9 is probably part 1. Yeah.
Be part 2. You should also in the red series, into 1, 2,
Okay.
2.
So, these pastimes, Vidura, questions by Vidura. There's like, especially from Mali, we've been hearing a lot about Mahabharata. There's a lot of backstory there with pastimes with Vidura and his brothers, and also Bhishma Dev, Pitamaha, Bhishma Dev, grandfather Bhishma Dev. And I saw somewhere that I think today in India, maybe yesterday around here, and then today in India, it's like the anniversary of Bhishma Dev leaving his, the disappearance of Bhishma Dev when he was leaving his body on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And also I saw, I think today, maybe tomorrow in India is a appearance day of, disappearance day of Madhvacharya. So we're in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So the Madhva there is Madhvacharya. So he's so I read it. I started trying to research a little bit about Madhvacharya, and it highlighted for me the importance of seeing the previous acharyas through the lens of Srila Prabhupada, because Madhvacharya, his philosophy is not Ashincha Beta Beta Tattva as given by Lord Chaitanya. So, and we come down to us through Srila Prabhupada. So, because there can be talk or discussions in certain groups of devotees, like, oh, the writings of the 6 Goswamis and like things like that, and going directly to the writings of the 6 Goswamis. And it's like, yeah, well, what about just going to the writings of Madhvacharya? And then it's like, well, then you get bewildered. So it's like, well, yes, so that's why it's like safest, best to hear directly from Srila Prabhupada, and then we can understand.
Since you mentioned sports and Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya is an acharya. One thing he's especially known for is physical strength.
Okay.
described.
Oh, yeah, I saw those pictures. He looks strong.
He looks strong, and he has pastimes where Hare Krishna, he will, and Prabhupada has one particularly really long purport about Madhvacharya in the Madhya Lila. And yeah, so like there was there would be like they found a deity in the sea, and 50 strong men couldn't lift the deity. He lifted the deity and took the deity to the temple. There would be there was the greatest wrestler at the time in Bharatvarsh, the greatest wrestler in India, was going around challenging people and defeating them in wrestling. And he came to Madhvacharya, and Madhvacharya put his toe in the ground, put his toe in the sand, and go, move my toe. And the wrestler couldn't do it. And the wrestler admitted defeat. So I mean, he was also like this brilliant scholar and philosopher,
Yeah.
but he's an acharya who was especially known for his physical strength, since you mentioned sports.
Yeah,
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
I appreciate that. Jai. So yeah, there's the so that it highlighted the importance of that philosophy. So yeah, okay, go back to Bhakti Siddhanta's writing, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's writing, go to the Six Goswamis' writings. Why not go to Madhvacharya's writings? But then it's like it's so bewildered, because Srila Prabhupada is the one that is empowered to speak to us directly, empowered in English, and to give translations, to give purports, to speak directly to us. That he is he's our current link to the disciplic succession. So through him, then we understand the previous acharyas perfectly. And I wanted so Bhishma Dev. So there's this anniversary this past, and it's one of my favorite things. I love it. So I wanted to read a little bit before we open up for discussion. And so Bhishma Dev is full of so many good qualities, so many like masculine, like just like perfect man, perfect human being, perfect man. And so this battlefield Kurukshetra, and he's on a bed of arrows, and it's like his deathbed. His deathbed is a bed of arrows in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he's waiting to leave his body because he's pure devotee. And so he can like choose the time to leave his body. So he's waiting to leave his body. And Krishna comes personally. So he sees Krishna eye to eye. Krishna's there on the battlefield. And this it's like glorious, it really glorifies to me, like the leaving the body, like the ideal way to leave the body, Bhishma Dev, glorifying that. And it also comes to mind, like I remember whenever Dravanaksha Prabhu was leaving his body, like I felt like that was such a glorious way, like that whenever he left his body, I remember visiting him at Mother Nanda and Dravanaksha's house, and kirtan happening constantly, and going and speaking with him and visiting him, and it like gives something to look forward to. It's like this something to look forward to, that it's such a beautiful way to look at the end of the body, leaving the body, the next chapter of life. I know that with my parents, my mother especially, like so they're at the age where they're preparing for death in their way. So what does preparing for death look like? Okay, so wills and trusts and care. Here's what, if take me off the ventilator, what it's like, all these kind of, or that's where the focus is. And okay, do you want these things, and these things, who wants these things, or how these things will be distributed? And I know it's not minimizing. She is, I experienced her increasing in her devotion to Jesus Christ, but still there's like all these kind of things. And okay, what might the funeral look like? Or it's kind of just all these things around death, but it's not actually the event. It's not actually the process of leaving the body. So what about that process? So I asked you, okay, so what about the funeral? But I'm wondering, like, what do you want, like, in that moment? Like, I know what I would do. We chant these mantras. What would you want? I remember with your mother, we sang these songs, some Christian songs. What kind of songs do you want? And it was hard for her to go there, but it's like, yeah, that's what's really important. Like, but what not like after the fact, what's happening with the things and the belongings and what's going to happen at the funeral. I mean, there's ceremony, there's rituals, there's rites. That's there, but yeah. So, and of course, yeah, we spend so much time avoiding death and avoiding the concept of death, the talk about death, and it's the only sure thing. Melanie shared that many times in classes. It's the only sure thing. There's death and taxes. That's what there's only the only surety of this life is death and taxes. Benjamin Franklin said that. But I know people that get away without paying taxes. So, but there's nobody that gets away without death. So, so it's the only sure thing. So it makes sense to face it. And then, so what's the process of that? And so in Vaishnavism, given by Srila Prabhupada, we have this glorious opportunity for the leaving the body to be a glorious event and something to look forward to and something to honor and support. And so let's read Bhishma Dev, his passing away, his prayers to his prayers as he was leaving his body. 1921. So this is Canto 1, Chapter 9, entitled Bhishma's Passing Away. We'll start with text 29. I'm just going to read the English translations. While Bhishma Dev was describing occupational duties, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere. This period is desired by mystics who die at their will. Thereupon, that man who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meanings and who fought on thousands of battlefields and protected thousands of men stopped speaking, and being completely freed from all bondage, withdrew his mind from everything else and fixed his wide open eyes upon the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who stood before him, four-handed, dressed in yellow garments that glittered and shined. By pure meditation, looking at Lord Sri Krishna, he at once was freed from all material inauspiciousness and was relieved of all bodily pains caused by the arrow wounds. Thus, all the external activities of his senses were at once stopped, and he prayed transcendentally to the controller of all living beings while quitting the material body. Bhishma Dev said, "Let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, unto the all-powerful Lord Sri Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending on the material world, although from him only the material world is created. Sri Krishna is the intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of the tamal tree. His body attracts everyone in the three upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face, covered with paintings of sandalwood pulp, be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruitive results." On the battlefield, where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. And because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go unto Sri Krishna. In obedience to the command of his friend, Lord Sri Krishna entered the arena of the battlefield of Kurukshetra between the soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana, and while there, he shortened the lifespans of the opposite party by his merciful glance. This was done simply by his looking at the enemy. Let my mind be fixed upon that Krishna. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. May his lotus feet always remain the sub-object of my attraction. Fulfilling my desire and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just like a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. May he, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who awards salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me, as if angry because of the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered, and his body was smeared with blood due to his wounds. At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction be to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left, and was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Sri Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Rajadam, the gopis. The damsels imitated the characteristic movements of the Lord after his disappearance from the rasa dance. At the Rajasuya Yagna sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhisthira, there was the greatest assembly of all the elite men of the world, the royal and learned orders. And in that great assembly, Lord Sri Krishna was worshipped by one and all as the most exalted personality of Godhead. This happened during my presence, and I remembered the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord. Now I can meditate upon that one Lord Sri Krishna now present before me with full concentration, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of the mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. Sutta Goswami said, thus Bhishmadev merged himself into the supersoul Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his mind, speech, sight, and actions, and thus he became silent and his breathing stopped. Knowing that Bhishmadev had merged into the unlimited eternity of the Supreme Absolute, all present there became silent like birds at the end of the day. Hare Krishna. So yeah, this Bhishmadev is, before that, before leaving his body, he gives like a discourse, spiritual, philosophical topics, and he's actually spurred by the question of Maharaj Yudhisthira, and it's described there that Maharaj Yudhisthira was kind of, Prabhupada gives some allegory there, some comparison to Krishna speaking to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna is kind of playing the role of the fool, in a sense, or like bewildered, and inquiring, and Krishna is instructing Arjuna. And so similarly, this part, Bhishmadev is passing away, that Maharaj Yudhisthira is playing the role of the bewildered, and then Bhishmadev is instructing, and then he leaves his body, and then this, so yeah, this describes like Krishna being decorated by blood and like the sweat and things like that. So this is like it's the mood, it's kshatriya mood, like the fighting spirit. It's like the rasa with Krishna, and the mood of fighting. Krishna enjoys fighting with the demons, also fighting even with his devotees. He enjoys that kind of sporting pastime. Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening. And if anyone would like to share any comments or questions or sharings at this time, I welcome that. I'll read the verse. Again. Tatastri ati braja shurastram ridam savira matsyan karunjagalam cha kalena tava yamuna mupecha tatrodavam bhagavatam dadarsha. Thereafter, he passed through very wealthy provinces like Surat, Savira, and Matsya, and through Western India known as Kurujangala. At last he reached the bank of the Yamuna, where he happened to meet Uddhava, the great devotee of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Appreciate lingering. It's just that lingering has a negative connotation. So you, like I described, the pure spiritual form of lingering. From Prophet use of the term. Yeah, that's really like that whole purport. It really gets to the essence of our mood in practicing bhakti yoga. Mood in practicing bhakti yoga, like emphasize. Prabhupada talks about, yes, Hey Radhe Radhe Devi Ke Chalalite Nanda Suno Kuta. The Goswamis are where is the Queen of Vrindavan, right? Where is Lalita? Where is Krishna? And it's not about like I am meeting Krishna, so that mood of separation, the mood of Gopi Bhartu, Padakama, Dasa Dasa Nada, servant of the servant. And it says so like we serve Srila Prabhupada. And Bhakti was talking about this the other day, like the analogy like the telescope. Right. So I want a direct relationship with the star, my eye and the star. So if we look through the telescope, we can say those lenses are in the way, those series of finely crafted lenses, they're between my eye and the star, that get in the way. But actually, the more finely crafted lenses, that's the parampara between my eye and the star, the more direct is my relationship with the star. So that's like the transcendental apparent irony of the parampara system. And so Prabhupada sends us such a very practical, grounded approach. So we serve the servant of the servant of the servant, the gopi and the master of the gopis. And that's Srila Prabhupada is our current link. And so we're not, in a sense, we're not interested to directly meet Krishna. And by serving Srila Prabhupada, we develop our direct relationship with Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yes, Shama Priya.
Thank you for class, Parampara. I also appreciated the lingering aspect, and then the searching, and you were using a sports analogy, and for making the children analogy of like playing hide and seek.
Hide and seek. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it shifted for me that perspective of like, okay, when I'm playing hide and seek, if I'm the one that's hiding, then I'm still thinking of the ones that are seeking me. So there, like it was like, so even Krishna, even though he's hiding, he's still thinking of us.
Yeah.
Because we're seeking him. And then if I'm the seeker, then that's all I'm looking at. Is he here? Is he here? Is he here?
Yeah.
So there's that engagement. So it's like, okay, on both sides, it's like we're thinking of him and he's thinking of us. Except then when I have a strop and I'm like, I don't want to play hide and seek, I want to see you. But then as soon as like in the game, if I'm looking at kids, as soon as one is found, again, okay, let's go and hide again and play again.
Right.
So it's like, well, that seems to be the pastime.
Yeah. Finding the game's over.
Yeah, finding
the game's over. It's
so
not fun anymore. So.
yeah, let's start again. So yeah, so that's just staying with me. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, hiding, seeking. You feel there's ecstasy, excitement. Yeah, you can. What's the pure form? So what's the pure form of hide and seek? The absolute form of hide and seek. Because it's very prevalent. I mean, hide and seek. Every kid loves playing hide and seek. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not every kid, but it seems to be very universal and like very strong, kind of hardwired experience. And also Prabhupada mentions in Krishna book, he mentions like a woman and her beloved, when her beloved is away, then, she thinks, and yeah, so I experienced that like, when I was away, I was in Colorado, in the seminars, like, oh, my wife is being nice to me. she's seems like she's thinking favorably of me more so than usual. And this is nice. So yeah, that love and separation, the mood of the gopis, Lord Chaitanya, and then Prabhupada gives us very practical ways to start to be in that line, to be in that parampara of the Vipralamba Seva, mood of separation.
Had some thoughts to share. Your class highlighted and for me, like how language reflects consciousness. It just came to mind for me, like, at least for me, my language is often reflecting my material consciousness. I'm saying, I'm tired, and I'm, even talking about more subtle things than my body, like my feelings, identifying with the gross and the subtle, through my language and consciousness. So it's just contemplating that coming out of your class. And I guess it was the sports analogy, the hunt, and then also comparing that to like, and those that are like, they're like eternally, like they never reach the goal. The Goswamis is always, seeking after Krishna. It's like, I imagined, I guess I inferred there that they've forgotten all about their bodily needs in a sense, because it's like they're so focused on the goal, even though they're in the goal in the process of seeking, and
Right.
then like some of our friends, their devotees, myself even, short glimpses, going out in Sankirtan, maybe on like a whole Sankirtan week, and just forgetting about eating, sleeping, time, right? And then so your class is just highlighted, and just appreciating and thinking about my language and consciousness and all that.
Language, but in consciousness, yeah, I like that. So the process is the goal. The process, Bhakti Yoga, the process is the goal. Being in the process. I could go into more sports analogies with the process, the process thinking. The process, why not, right? That's meet myself where I'm at, to engage my psychophysical nature and whatever. So like there's like the most successful current day like coaches, especially with football, they emphasize process thinking. So the process thinking is that you focus on the task at hand in front of you, whatever the task is at hand, the process, and you break things down into you break things down into a process of tasks that are easily achievable. Focus on tasks, and you don't worry about desired outcome or results. So it's not you don't put your attention on the result or the goal or whatever it is, the desired outcome. You put your energy on be the best that I can do in this next 3 seconds, or this next workout, or this next thing. So it's like process thinking, the process. So yeah, Bhakti Yoga is a process, and so that we can be successful, it's an approach. It's an approach to just focus on the process. What can I do today? What can I do for the next few minutes, few seconds? What can I do to the task at hand? What's in front of me to be in the process and to be more engaged in the process. Anandini? like to share?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your class. I appreciate your very grounded approach to Krishna consciousness and sharing it with us. And I was also reflecting on language, but more like how I project my mindset on these teachings. Like when you were speaking about or like highlighting this point that searching for God is equal to finding God, or searching for Krishna is equal to, that's what the pure devotees share with us. That's their experience, their insight. It's the same, searching for Krishna and seeing Krishna. And I reflected on how when I first started to read Srila Prabhupada's books, I would hear mainly, I'm not good enough. I'm not there yet. That's what I was hearing. And when you were sharing today at this point, actually searching for Krishna that's good enough. It's good as seeing Krishna. I just realized that, yeah, there is some change or some transformation happening in my consciousness, that, yeah, it's good enough that I'm searching, that I'm endeavoring. So I was appreciating this shift that is happening. And yeah, I just find it very beautiful to meditate on that. As long as I'm searching for Krishna, it's good.
That's good. Yeah, I heard there's like a shift, maybe like your self-talk or yourself, your experience of yourself. Yeah. Because yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, well, if I'm searching, then I haven't achieved my result. I'm not, so it's not good enough. Just, if I'm still in the process, I'm still, there's some, that's one frame of reference. That's one perspective. That's one perspective is like, yeah, if I haven't, if I'm still in the process, I'm still practicing, I'm not very good at it. That's not good enough. And then Prabhupada is sharing like, the mood of the 6 Goswamis is they never met Krishna. So that's ridiculous for us, because of course they met Krishna. They see him personally face to face, but that's their mood. That's their mood. So it's like an alternative perspective of, and that's to me, that's what the lingering, that's what the lingering brings up is because it's like lingering. I could just go like the Goswami, they could just go see Krishna face to face, but no, they're lingering, they're waiting, they're lingering. There's lingering brings a connotation of like I'm purposefully wandering around, biding my time or whatever. So because there's so much ecstasy and bliss there. So but yeah, I hear that it's an alternate perspective to be with yourself, to be like, yeah, just that's good enough. That's actually perfection. That's the perfection, is to be searching, and be the process and the goal is the same. That's what I'm getting from your sharing.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful to get this. Like I have the filter of my mind, and to hear how the pure devotees, what they experience helps me understand, oh, I do have these filters. And there must be a totally different experience once these filters are gone.
Yeah, hearing the pure devotees experience helps you see more clearly the filters that you have, that we have, see more clearly. And then it makes sense that, okay, well, if once these filters aren't there, there's going to be a different experience. Once those are, it's like purified.
And another point, you were speaking about Kali Yuga, and it's like often I thought, what a bad bargain. Do you say a bad bargain to land in Kali Yuga? So much misery and degradation, and yet in terms of God realization, coming to understanding of God, or it seems what I understand, even love of God, Kali Yuga is the best place. There's so many opportunities. Like most people on earth, like when they just walk a few meters, miles, they find suffering. And each suffering is an opportunity to wake up and ask, like, oh, how come? How come? And in other yugas, there's so much beauty and so much love and peace and happiness. So yeah, how would we wake up to ask this question?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing different perspectives again, like, yeah, so one perspective, Kali Yuga, what a bad bargain. You know, we're so unfortunate. And then another perspective is, oh, Kali Yuga is a great opportunity. So many crises, so many opportunities to be reminded, to get serious, to, you know, to be enlivened in our process. So actually, it's gratitude. So that's another perspective, gratitude for Kali Yuga.
It's described in the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam that the demigods are waiting in line to take birth in Kali Yuga during the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. So it is a terrible place and getting worse. And there's also amazing advantages. Even the demigods who have very high consciousness and level of life, they're waiting in line to take birth in Kali Yuga.
Yeah. Yeah, and if I'm hearing from you, Dear Govinda, it's Lord Chaitanya, the Sankirtan movement, that's the gratitude, or that's the fortune, that's the good fortune of the Kali Yuga, that we had the golden avatar, Sri Advaita. We just celebrate Sri Advaita's appearance day, that he prayed for him to come, for Krishna to come. I actually, my son, when I was getting him ready that day for school, I said, oh, Sri Advaita appearance day, you know who that is? And he said, yeah, he prayed for Krishna to come, or he said something like that, like he's the one who prayed. And I was like, yeah, he prayed for Lord Chaitanya to come. And he corrected me, he said, well, he didn't know it would be Lord Chaitanya. He prayed for Krishna to come. So I was like, oh, okay, that's a nice distinction there. He's praying for Krishna to come. Or maybe he didn't know it was going to be Lord Chaitanya. I don't know, but that was his correction to me. I appreciate it.
Your son's absorbed in these nuances. Pretty auspicious.
And so Lord Chaitanya's, it made it so simple. It's such a simple process for us. So that's our good fortune. That's what it serves us to be in gratitude for that. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Lord Chaitanya. Thank you for giving this prime opportunity in this Kali Yuga for such a simple process, you know, dancing, feasting, and chanting the names of the Lord. Or Kim, did you want to say something, or I just muted you? But
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was off mute. No, I'm good, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Nikhil.
I just have one thing. It's also from sports, and it's like
Good.
It's like marry the process and divorce the result.
Okay.
And it's yeah, like this idea of like, okay, the mood of the process is I'm searching, I'm seeking.
Yeah.
And then the process is the feasting and the singing and the dancing. And Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
And then I'm just coming to mind is on Monday in discussion, like we were talking about the different pastimes of the Lord, and the ones that we can enact and engage in, the ones that we can't.
Yeah.
And how this Hari Katha, what we're doing right now, Krishna Katha, is as good as dancing with Krishna in the Rasa Leela dance.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm just feeling that. And
Yeah, experiencing that.
To be with everyone. Yeah.
Chai. Thank you for that. Further sports. Marry the process. So yeah. Marry the search, marry the chanting, the dancing, the feasting, and divorce from the results, or give up any attachment to any results. And that's, I think Malini, I know, shares about that quite often. It's like, or something similar that comes to mind is like to not have expectations of ourselves, what's like attachment expectations or expectations of ourselves. Oh, I should be this kind of a devotee, or I should have this kind of advancement, or I should have this kind of result. And So that's kind of what comes to mind whenever you share that, is being in the process, like Anandini was saying, searching. I've been practicing for however many years of practicing. I'm not very good at it, but it's like, that's the process, and that's the goal. And like Anandini shared, to like, rather than, well, it's not good enough, or I'm not good enough, to be like, it is good enough. Actually, this is perfect. This is the process, to be searching, to be striving, to be desiring. And then even, so it gives some, for me, and I think Anandini's like shared, like gives some solace, a little soothing, that, okay, so yeah, even the Six Goswamis were considering their goal was never fulfilled. So it's like, okay, so and actually the danger of thinking that that your goal is fulfilled, of of attaining Krishna. So it just simplifies, at least for my mind, it simplifies, it calms, soothing to the process of just be where I'm at and focus on the process. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anandini.